6'4". Teamed up with Philip Heinen. And the formation lap. Foley's fans cheering him on. Should get the gun. We are underway. So 199, 200 laps to go, or 199 plus. We count down also. And counting down to our first sprint point, which comes up with 190 laps to go. So there's a lot to pay attention to. The best challenge that there really is to just follow along what's going on at the front. Fortunately, the commissaires are down there pointing to the leaders. And each time, of course, there is a bell lap, they ring it for those in front. So if you fall behind, there are ways to catch up. And there's a good look at an arm sling there by Bridgestone Cycling. Eiya Hashimoto, Naoki Kojima. And the French team is on the front. Thomas Bouda, Benjamin Thomas. The French are world champions. That was Thomas and Donovan Grandin, who we saw last night winning the Omnium. We have a reserved start to this one. Still a pack together. There's a whole lot of weaving in and around people doing their exchanges. So especially as the race drags on, the legs get tired, the mind gets tired. That's when mistakes can happen, and there will be a lot unfolding over the now 194 laps to go. That's an injection of tempo by Czechia, Denis Rugovac. Spanish riders. I believe that was Sebastian Mora. We saw him last night. So there's already a warning flashed up on the board for one of the sides. A couple of them, Spain and China, both look like they have them up next to their names. Just commissaires are always quick to alert those sorts of things. Last night, get back to that in just a second. It is Beat Cycling taking the first sprint point. That is Vincent Hapazak. We saw him in the Omnium quite a bit last night. So the warnings are just in case for riders who are living life a little too dangerously. We saw it last night when one of the Brazilian riders eventually biked into the back of the US as they were making an exchange. Confirmation of the first points, and it's our club teams up front. Beat Cycling, Bridgestone in second with 3 points, Germans with 2, and Czechia. That's the first fourth place finish. Long, long way to go. These races almost take on a life of their own. They really ramp up as we get closer to a sprint. And they sort of ease off and a group kinds to sort of reshape. So unless someone's trying to go off on a breakaway, there's a whole lot of ups and downs and ebbs and flows in this race. The Canadians leading the way. That is Dylan Bibic, the 19-year-old. A lot of talk around that young man. A lot of career left ahead of him. There's the warning for Spain. Confirmation there. Great Britain making an exchange right at the front. And Oliver Wood enters the conversation. 6 feet tall from West Yorkshire, the town of Wakefield. a surge here coming from the Asian champions from Japan. You'll see a lot of that. That's looking like a textbook hand sling by the Austrian side. And I mean, exchanges can be done by sort of any contact, but you want to give your teammates some momentum to just go forward and, without missing a stride, get right back into the action. Great Britain doing a good example of that right now, and Japan leading things around as we reach another sprint lap. Japan leading things. Great Britain second, France third, Austria on pace for a fourth. See how things shape out around the final turn, and it is Japan picking up 4 points. Not any movement on that last lap. So the Asian champions get 5 points. Kazushige Kuboki and Shunsuke Imamura. That group now deciding to push things up a little bit. It's France, Japan, the animators now forcing other teams to chase them down. Canada moving forward. There is a crash. It's affected Japan right on the start-finish. And definitely in some pain. That's Kazushige Kuboki. See if there's any decision to neutralize. It's right there on the track, off the track, pardon me. Still going right now. Someone will have to eyeball the track to see if there's any damage. We are closing in 5 laps until our next sprint. There has sort of been a reformation. Be interesting to see if Kuboki can get back going. He's on his feet. He's nodding along, shaking things off, and rider from Czechia also involved. But if your teammate is still in the race, he has to go solo. And if you're riding a lot of laps on your own, you're wasting a lot of energy. So you obviously hope your teammate is okay, but you also want your teammate to be as okay as quickly as possible. Right in the background there, the 2 riders got tangled up. It was right in the back of that shot. The other rider was Jan Vonish. There is the bell. Beat Cycling leading things around. It's Yori Havik being chased down by France, and it's still Havik leading full points. And it's Thomas Bouda. Oh, pardon me, I've missed Great Britain off the front, it seems. Get that resorted soon enough. Nope, it is Beat Cycling leading things around. We're all good. Now there is a trio though, quartet rather, deciding to force things in Austria, Canada, Portugal leading the chase. Beat Cycling, the trade team from the Netherlands, along with France, Great Britain, and Germany. You have to wonder, these teams, Portugal trying to bridge Canada, their teams will want to either try to get the pack back together or bridge on their own and join the attack themselves, but very strung out at the moment. Benjamin Thomas for France making the exchange, and the group has reformed with Portugal on the front. Halfway to our next sprint point.
Speed, pick it up.
There's a bit of an attack down the inside. Mark Stewart of Great Britain. Certainly a few teams have really been the animators so far.
You see France there with the orange helmet there. We saw the women's Madison race yesterday. A lot of the women had
All line astern right now. Almost too fast for someone to try to break away. With 2 laps to go, now coming up to the bell, shaping up for another sprint. Great Britain, France both make exchanges, leading Canada around. Germany trying to close things in 4th. It looks like Canada could be coming in to pick up some points behind Great Britain and France. And Michael Foley, certainly pleasing those hometown fans there to see him. And 2 points for Canada. And the home side is on the board. There's confirmation of those points. Current standings. Great Britain and Beat Cycling on 10 points apiece. France in 3rd with 8, Japan with 5 in 4th, and Germany on 4 points in 5th place. So still a long, long way to go. Those standings unlikely to stay that way. Now it's sort of the exhale portion of the sprint, where teams sort of settle back into a bit of a rhythm, bunching back up. Here's a look at Foley. Pardon me, that is Dylan Bibic, pardon me, the 19-year-old. He's about to bring in Foley. There's Foley right there. 24 years old, 5'10".
Again, 20 bonus points are still up for grabs to anybody who wants.
It's Kazakhstan trying to force the issue now. That is Ramis Dibmukamatov. And he has a bit of a gap now. Also have to wonder if maybe they're just moving in front just to make the exchanges easier. No worries about traffic, staying out of danger. Quickly reform. Group still together. Still easy to follow here. It's all still largely one pack. No sides have lost a lap yet, it seems, but there is the bell. And Japan makes an exchange. Kuboki back in. Seems to be fine, but it is his teammate who's taking that now in for the sprint. It's going to be Portugal taking this one. Japan 2nd, Germany and Kazakhstan close for 3rd. Ivo Alves of Portugal Evenings. He just switches in Yuri Leitao, who was in the Omnium last night. And now again, the reformation, the exhale, as I'm calling it, as the teams all bunch back up together. And the games and the tactics return once again. Shaping things up for the next sprint. It's Cheney Windows and Doors in that Stars and Stripes jersey on the front. Cheney Windows and Doors has Colby Lang, who raced in the Omnium last night, and Tristan Manderfield, It's Lang who's now racing, and Canada hits the front alongside France. Coming up to 4 laps to go. There is another rider down that we've missed there, and it's bad luck day. Is that Kuboki again? It was. Certainly not his day. So Shunsuke Imamura gonna be tired tonight, and Kuboki will just be sore. So Imamura will stay in as long as possible, but with this long to go, I think you need a teammate still to go. Imamura sitting 4th wheel right now at the front as we are coming up to another sprint point. His teammate Kuboki getting his bike looked at. And it's France leading things around to the bell again. France and Great Britain at the front, as they have been several times. Japan still in the mix to pick up a few more points, right ahead of Germany, and that's how it's going to look like. 1, 2, 3, and 4. The young Canadian side in 5th, just out of the points. Commissaire having a word with Kazushige Kuboki. And now Britain, Great Britain off on a bit of an attack. And Dylan Bibic looking around to see if anyone wants to help in the chase. Italy now deciding to join in, Kazakhstan with them. Is Scartazzini, Michele Scartazzini for Italy, and is this the forming up of a bit of a group, or are we going to just reform once again? Good sling from Canada to get Michael Foley into the mix. And what you try to do with these attacks, if you don't gain a gap, if you don't try to get a lap, you're forcing those teams behind to expend some energy. Some of them might lose contact, and you might see some people lose a lap, but you're tiring them out as this long race goes, as they reform up once again, but there's been a bit of an exertion, so the legs are getting that little bit more tired with 135 laps still to go. The Madison, as we always like to talk about in French, it's called l'Américaine, the American. Its history dates back to big events, big Madison races at Madison Square Garden. The name has stuck, and I'm not sure if there are Madison races at Madison Square Garden anymore. It would be cool if there were, although I think that facility is mostly taken up with Billy Joel concerts and hockey and basketball games. But maybe one day. It's France on the front, defending world champions. And I'm guessing Benjamin Thomas doesn't wear the world champions jersey because when you have a teammate that can't wear it, Thomas Bouda, you don't want to have the confusion and the clashing. So both of them are in the French navy blue with the tricolore around the midsection. Another bell lap. Bridgestone Cycling Club on the front. They're going to make an exchange as we come up to pick up the points, and they will pick up another 5. Germany 2nd, Great Britain 3rd, another 5th place for the Canadians. There's confirmation of those results. Bridgestone, Germany, France, Great Britain. Just an update on our Japanese team. I see Kazushige Kuboki is back in the race. So the adrenaline probably coursing through him to dull any pain he's feeling after hitting the deck a few times. Check the updated standings, and France now in 1st on 15 points. Great Britain 2nd, and a tie for 3rd at the moment between Beat Cycling and Japan. But Germany there, though, Bridgestone there is close as well. So any sprint points, there's still a lot of sprint points to go. So if anyone picks up a couple of wins, could shoot right up the standings.
All right, so the pack is back together here. All right, time as they come through the home stretch.
Spain, a bit of an attack.
France is going
That's Eric Martorell.
so the tempo is faster again. Nobody yet has attempted to take a lap, but then again, the pace is
Stringing things back out again. We are always counting down to the next sprint point. 125 coming up to 124 laps to go. But we are 4 laps from the next sprint, and the usual suspects coming back to the front. I see France, I see Great Britain, I see Bridgestone, I see Germany. Still a bit of time left, though. French back on the front. Benjamin Thomas with the red numbers for France. Now he switches over to Ouda. Ouda is from Langon in the Gironde region, so around Bordeaux. 4 teams near the front. It's Belgium entering the fray. Portugal behind them. France looking to add to their lead. And Kazakhstan looking to pick up a 3rd point potentially.
So France extending their lead here. They're up to 17 points. 14 and
There is wary of the danger. Italy is leading the pursuit. A lot of teams starting to suffer. Now it's really getting frayed at the back. There's a whole lot of traffic there weaving in and out. Looking at the front now, it's Italy, Kazakhstan, France, Bridgestone, Belgium, and now there is a slight reformation, but a lot of teams are just trying to chase to get back into the mix. If they're chasing now, it'll be tough for them to involve themselves in the sprint, the next sprint, when that tempo gets ramped up all the more. Commissaires down there, as I mentioned, always indicating where the lead team is very helpful in a race like this. That is Ramas Dinmukamatov, Kazakhstan there, as Michele Scartazzini goes to the front. And there is a reformation, but we'll see how much those efforts just to chase back on have affected a lot of the teams here. The French in that bright orange helmet makes it very easy to spot when you're trying to look for the hand of your teammate. It's Mark Stewart, 27-year-old, leading things around. He was leading the Omnium until the final race. The points race didn't go as planned. And now coming up to 2 laps before our next sprint point, pardon me. And it's Japan. Forget fatigue, forget sore bones. They are leading this one around, and the exchange is made. And that is Shunsuke Imamura leading things around. Thomas trying to close it down, but Imamura, another 5 points for Japan. France in second, Great Britain another 3rd, Germany 4th, and given it to Portugal, they've given, I believe it's Germany. Anyway, it is Canada with yet another 5th place. So there's a pattern to this, no matter what happens. Great Britain and France seem to always be in the points. Japan usually is up there, and Canada is likely finishing 5th, at least through a whole lot of these sprints so far. Closing in on the halfway mark. An update on our standings. France on 20 points. Great Britain on 16. Japan on 15. And then Germany and Beat Cycling tied for 4th with 10 points. A reminder, the last sprint point at the very end of the race is double points, as if it wasn't chaotic enough. France just going through and out quickly. It's too early to be spending much time on the front. Right now, Bridgestone leading the way. And cycling through the wash almost. Canada coming back to the front. They were hanging out near the back. Now a little more comfortable. The fatigue is very much setting in, though, as we approach 100 laps to go. Here comes Beat Cycling. A little burst of energy to make the exchange, and the sling throws forward. Nicely done by them as Yuri Havoc shaking things up here. And they're taking Portugal and Spain, so Iberian Peninsula neighbors going with Yuri Havoc. Havoc, the 2022 points race world champion. And they actually won the Madison last year. He did with Jan Willem van Schip. Van Schip racing with the Netherlands, so they both won last year. But on the rival sides this year, there's the bell. Portugal, Beat Cycling, Spain, France, Belgium, and Canada. And it looks like it's going to be Beat Cycling coming back around to take 5 points. Portugal second, Spain third, and another point for France. Belgium in 5th, and that time Canada in 6th. But there is a gap. We'll see if these guys start to work together. The Netherlands, Great Britain, and Bridgestone and Japan now having to work to close the gap, and it looks like they are going to be doing that within pretty short order. But there now appears to be something of an elite selection. 2 real solid groups about closing in on half a lap apart. Portugal, though, now upping the tempo solo. That's Yuri Leitao. French pursuers. That's Buda. Now we're really starting to scatter around the track as we're into the second half of the race. So on the front, the 19-year-old Canadian Bibic. Still a long way to go before the next sprint point, so we've seen Canada on the front before, but then things change in a fraction of a second as teams shape up for another sprint. Bibic happy to slow things down a little bit, let someone else go to do the work, and Jan Willem van Schip says, I'm more than happy to do it myself, and off he goes, provoking a chase. Four more teams starting to rejoin this front group. The American side from Cheney Windows and Doors, Italy, Kazakhstan, and Austria closing back in as we come up to 2 laps to go before the next sprint point. Here comes a move from the Austrians on the outside. We saw their national velodrome in Vienna closed. They do a lot of their training abroad now. And there is the bell. France, Great Britain once again. 2 teams who have always been there, but Beat Cycling coming around the outside, and they will get full points. That was Vincent Hopazak. Another 5 for Beat Cycling. That puts them into second place now. France in second. Great Britain third, Bridgestone in fourth. So updated. France on 24, beat cycling into second with 20. Great Britain with 18, Japan with 15. 88 laps to go.
That's actually good news for France and beat cycling. Their worst case scenario would be that there's now 4, 5, 6 heats that get into that 20-point realm. But right now, in contention behind France, Great Britain, and Japan.
Bunching back up again, so every time the gaps have opened up and the teams have sort of scattered, there has pretty much always been every team coming back together. From the looks of things, doesn't look like anybody's lost a lap yet. Now off on a flyer. Great Britain, Mark Stewart. It's Italy and Austria at the front of the chase. Cheney, windows and doors as well. Tristan Menderfield. Although anytime you see a peloton bunching up like that, there's not a lot of organization, there's not a lot of speed, and this might be the one that gets away. Great Britain has the elastic finally snapped. They have at least the straightaway. And now the calculation comes into play. It looks like he's not going to be catching the back of the field anytime soon, so it might not be an issue. But you want to get the 5 points before you get the 20. Just maximize your opportunity. So Stewart's going to come around to get the bell lap. So it looks like they might be timing this one nicely. They are on pace to get the 5 points, and then they can start to think about the 20. And if that happens, we'll have a new team atop the leaderboard. Mark Stewart gets full 5 points for Great Britain. Stewart from Dundee, dreaming of World Championships in Scotland, but now it's Oliver Wood. And when the field is fractured, fractured like that, it's up to the commissaires to decide when the lap is made. There's France leading the pursuit, and I think they may be starting to close it back up. It's no longer a certainty that Great Britain will get that away. Stewart is pushing. They are closing in on a few of the back markers, but they have a gap between them and the main field. It wouldn't count for 20. But at the very least, Great Britain on course for another full 5 points. That British effort, though, has really put teams into the red. Struggling to stay together. A lot of the other teams trying to chase Great Britain, and then the other teams are just trying to chase those teams, and so a lot of energy being wasted. And now Britain looking odds on. They see them at the end of the home straight. That carrot dangles in front of them. Great Britain will come up to get the bell this time around. And once again, ideally, if you're Great Britain, you time it so you get the 5 points and then you get the 20 points. And they may just be doing that. We'll see what the commissaires decide. I think they'll be okay. Britain goes for 5. And then moments later, We see if they get the 20. There's the race for second on right now. It looks like it's Bridgestone, Cheney Windows and Doors, and Canada gets up a single point. The curse of 5th place is over for them, at least for one sprint point. And it's Canada, Cheney Windows and Doors, the two. Maybe a bit of a word there. I wonder if they say, hey, maybe we should go. The catch has now been made, so we're going to see a big reshuffling atop the leaderboard. But now the group is back together, so the sprint points will come once again from this group unless someone else ventures off the front. There are the standings. Great Britain with that 20, 48 points. France on second place now, 24. Bridgestone Cycling with 20, and two teams, both the Japanese trade team side, Bridgestone, and the national team side on 15 points apiece. And Britain now can afford to take a little bit of a breather, although they move right back to the front again. Mark Stewart. I guess that allows them to dictate things a little bit. Warn other teams off from perhaps making it an attack. Now it's France. Now they go. Belgium going with them. They needed a reaction. A 24-point margin. Belgium, Czechia, and Portugal all trying to go, but Kazakhstan and Great Britain leading the pursuit. Jordan's swinging in Noah van den Branden for the Belgians. There is the bell. Belgium, Czechia wanting to get some points. So it's going to be close, but it's going to be Belgium, then Czechia, Portugal. Does France sneak up for another one? Yes, they do. Down to 60 laps. And that's China just losing. You're wondering what the whistle is and the red flag. That's China down a lap. So they're the first side to lose 20 points. But Portugal, Belgium, France pressing on. Czechia not really able to hang in there. Beat Cycling and Bridgestone Cycling leading a counterattack. And again, we are scattered all over the track. Coming up to C56, Portugal currently sitting with 13 points in 6th place. Belgium right now in 7th on 10 points. There's a look at, and that's actually Great Britain going down. There's so much going on, I missed that. It looked like, I'm not sure if it was Stewart or Wood. Stewart, of course, crashing yesterday. Let's see where things are. I see on the track right now, it's Mark Stewart. If this race isn't chaotic enough, I think it was Oliver Wood who's riding around on the inside. He's back on his bike. There's a nice grip on his kit. Big red welt on the back of his leg. When you crash like that, you may not feel the burn right away, but that skin is going to be sore tomorrow. Of course, in addition to any muscular or bone injury potentials. There is a bell lap. While that all played out, we are still sort of scattered around the track. Look at the French side, 49 laps to go. Spain being chased. The Italians, a good example of the arm sling there. Scartazzini and Mattia Pinazzi. Italy being joined by Cheney windows and doors. There is a warning assigned to beat cycling. It's the Spaniards leading things right now. Cheney windows and doors, and Italy trying to lead the pursuit.
All right, so here are the teams that were reported.
And there are a bunch of teams who have just gained a lap. Bridgestone, Beat Cycling, Japan, Portugal, Belgium, Czechia, and the Netherlands. Sort of explains a little bit of the chaos all over the track there before this last little reformation. And let's update those standings. Great Britain, 48 points. France, 45. Beat Cycling, 40. Bridgestone and Japan both on 35. And it's Canada here leading the pursuit of Spain. The group got back together. Commissaires point at the current leaders anyway, but Spain hasn't gained a lap, so they are currently still sitting with only a handful of points. 20 would certainly give their ranking a big shot in the arm. Bell lap coming, and coming around, Eric Martorell to pick up 5 points for Spain. They're eyeing 20 more.
He's hitting the line, he'll get back some points, but now he's got to keep rolling it all the way around the track to the back of the big group.
We'll readjust. Spain, Portugal, Japan. See who they call it for fourth. It's the Canadians picking up another point. They're getting their points really in ones, an occasional fourth place. There's Portugal having already picked up a lap. And Japan also picking up a lap. They're a team to watch. So you see the French leading a charge with Italy. Great Britain also has to be wary of things out there, as Spain closing in on the back markers. Really inching closer to gaining a valuable lap. There's the readjustment in the rankings. Great Britain now 48, France 45, Beat Cycling 40. It looks like Spain could be getting some company. The Asian champions from Japan and Portugal closing right back up. Kazushige Kuboki, he's taken his lumps today. He makes the exchange to Shunsuke Imamura. And now it's 3. France now sensing the danger to their own ranking, closing very, very quickly. We're coming up to 34 laps to go. So, currently, Portugal in front of Japan and Spain. France closing. Beat Cycling and Canada also trying to get up there. And Great Britain, their ranking atop the standings ever more precarious. It will be Portugal leading things around to the next bell lap. 20 points is looking, I think, less and less likely, but we'll see what happens. Portugal, Japan, Spain, France leading things around at the moment. And it's going to be 5 more points for Portugal. And then Japan Beat Cycling just getting up for 3rd. And then Spain and France were both very close. looks like Spain gets the 4th spot. Canadians have fallen back into a group with Great Britain, Belgium, and Cheney windows and doors. Britain also now a little more urgency as their lead is a little more tenuous with some teams chasing them up the road, up the track. Updated rankings there for you. Great Britain, 48, 45 for France, 42 beat cycling, and Portugal now with 41. And another 5 points for them, and they are right up into potentially a silver medal position. And they are actually now coming up to some back markers. We'll see what the commissaires decide. If this is where the peloton is, what merits 20 points? It's been a long, long attack for Portugal. Not sure if they will assign it, but you never know. They have given one. That explains the 41 points for them now. Although now the next question is, where do the next 5-point sprint comes from? Keeping our eye on several points. I'm looking at our commissaires. It's from the group that contains Japan, France, Spain, and beat cycling. That to be rejoined by Belgium, Canada, Cheney windows and doors, the Netherlands, and Great Britain. So that will be the group for the next 5-point sprint at the moment. Although anytime we see shots of commissaires looking concerned and talking to each other, I wonder if things will change, but for the moment, we'll pay attention to what's going on here. There's the bell. There's the indicator. France leading out the next sprint. But it's beat cycling with a burst of power. They want to come around and get 5 points. They see 3rd place in the side of things. And there it is. And let me reconfirm, Portugal had already previously gained a lap. They've now gained a 2nd one. So we have a big shuffling atop the standings. Let me update that in just a minute once we see the standings reflect that. Portugal having picked up 2 laps. That's 40 points right there. Beat cycling, winners of the last sprint, France in 2nd, Japan 3rd, Spain 4th. There's confirmation of that with just 2 sprints to go. And for our sprint purposes, that French group is still the lead group. That's where the sprint points come from. So there it is, 61 points with that 2nd lap gained, and Portugal is trying to get up to that lead group where they're considering the sprint point. So it's Portugal on 61, France and Great Britain both on 48, beat cycling on 47. So Portugal having gained the 20, they're now sort of caught in the middle because they're not in that group where the sprint determination comes from. So that means they're not in a position to pick up any more points right now. And if France and Great Britain keep getting sprint wins, they could move closer to the lead. And it's the French side. Benjamin Thomas trying to keep the Portuguese team behind them, but Portugal looks like they might make the connection and would be in a position to pick up points in the next sprint. It's a lot of work for them to get around a few of those riders though. Japan now hitting the front, currently in 5th place. They are going to hear the bell, the penultimate bell, beat cycling right behind them. And it's Imamura being swung in. A nice lead for Shunsuke Imamura. They lead beat cycling, but it's beat cycling with the late gasp. The last gasp burst at the end to pick up 5 points. Hapazak gets the 5. Japan second, Great Britain third. And we have one final sprint point left to go. That, of course, is double points, and it's Spain off the front. They are currently on 14 points. So they need 20, they need 10, and they need some help, essentially, to really get anywhere near the podium, 20 at least. There's the updated standings. Portugal 61, Britain and beat cycling both on 52, and France on 49. All to play for here on the final sprint. 6 laps to go. The lead group, I watch our commissaire, and he indicates it's Spain and the Netherlands as Philip Heinen moves to the front, and he just continues powering on. The Netherlands currently on 20 points. They're trying to steal themselves away. Spain, France, beat cycling, Great Britain, Canada, Belgium all leading the pursuit. Jan Willem van Schip on pace to pick up the final 10 points. It wouldn't do the Netherlands really any good when it comes to the podium. It would get a nice boost up the rankings, though. 2 laps to go. Great Britain and France and beat cycling, all the potential teams who want to sort of flank the size of the podium are chasing Jan Willem van Schip. He has a lot of traffic there, but here come Great Britain. Here comes France. They're closing in on Netherlands, as are beat cycling, and so 10 points to Netherlands, second to France. Beat cycling in third, Great Britain in fourth. Portugal, though, celebrating our victorious in this Madison race. We will see how these double points play out. There are the final standings. Portugal, so in the 61, end, beat cycling 56, France 55 to claim bronze. Host Canadians, the young Canadian side in 12th on 6 points. And then a few of the teams there.